On the West Country tonight, the Prime Minister tells a young audience he's not afraid to take difficult decisions.
These question and answer sessions, I often have to say things that aren't very popular. But the job of Prime Ministers is not always to say what's popular, it's to try and say what is right and true.
He brought the entire cabinet with him to Bristol.
This is the West Country Tonight with Cordelia Lynch and Ian Axton.
Good evening. Bristol became the focus of the nation's senior politicians today when David Cameron swung into town, bringing with him the entire cabinet.
They held a meeting at an academy school on the outskirts of the city, and afterwards the Prime Minister took questions from pupils. Also in Bristol today were Labour's Ed Balls and former MP Martin Bell. Our political correspondent Bob Constantine has been following the day's events.
And so one school I went to, they were just told it was someone called David, and when they discovered it wasn't David Beckham, there were tears and...
David, the Prime Minister, not the footballer, Cameron, before a class of schoolchildren during a visit to an academy near Bristol today. They'd only been told shortly before who their mystery guest was.
Because the truth is today, we're in a really tough global race. A global race against these emerging economies like India and China and Indonesia and Malaysia, all of whom are putting massive resources into education.
His response, a programme of more academies in primary schools. But his young audience also asked about tuition fees and forced the PM to make this confession.
But the job of Prime Ministers is not always to say what's popular, it's to try and say what is right and true.
It was part of a Cabinet away day which saw ministers hold their regular meeting not in Downing Street but in a maths classroom at the John Cabot Academy in Kingswood, a visit intended to get ministers out and about in the regions.
This is actually part of a policy that was started under the last government. Now Cabinet meetings are held outside London roughly every 4 months or so. A chance for ministers to talk to people who, as David Cameron put it, live outside the Westminster bubble.
When we heard that we had the opportunity to host the whole cabinet, it takes one's breath away briefly, but then you think what an opportunity, what a chance to get our message across to key people about what we're trying to do in Bristol, Western and Bath, and what an opportunity for our students to meet the Prime Minister and engage in real politics.
And these students agreed.
It's all been kept very secret. We were only given our letter about the filming and TV consent, and that's about all we knew. So we've all been waiting eager and excitement.
I think now a lot of us are a lot more kind of intrigued by politics, and we might kind of pay more attention, whereas before it was kind of adult stuff. But now we've kind of seen how it does affect us. I think a lot of us will pay more attention to it in the future.
What do you think's the best skills to learn?
Seldom has a city hosted so many politicians in one day. Surely it can't be a coincidence, can it?